Okay, exactly 8 o'clock. Huh? A very good evening to all the brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. So today is uh, 24 July 2025, Thursday. So we're supposed to uh, start our Surangama Sutra, but because of the timing, I think we will use today's Thursday class to start off as an introduction. Yeah? And we will go through the acknowledgement, the preface, everything. Mm. Then later on, when it comes to Sunday, yeah, which is not the coming one, the next one when I come back from Singapore, could be, I think, August. Uh, I don't know what date. Then we will officially shift it to Sunday class. Okay? The Surangama Sutra, we will move it to 3 to 6 Sunday class. The venue will be here, Pamasuri Housing. I think like that better because when I travel from PJ, we don't have to go through the traffic. Go back also no traffic, come also no traffic, so easier. Okay, so as usual, we will gather and have our physical puja. Come. Let us compose our mind, develop the faith, Sada, Virya, then mindfully we shall commence the Puja chanting. Namo 本师释迦牟尼佛。南无本师释迦牟尼佛。南无本师释迦牟尼佛。南无观世音菩萨。南无观世音菩萨。南无观世音菩萨。南无文殊菩萨。南无文殊菩萨。南无文殊菩萨。南无地藏王菩萨。南无地藏王菩萨。南无地藏王菩萨。南无普贤菩萨。南无普贤菩萨。南无普贤菩萨。南无药师佛。南无药师佛。南无药师佛。南无佛菩萨。南无佛菩萨。南无佛菩萨。อะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธภะคะวะพุทธังภะคะวันตังอะภิวาเทมิสุขโตภะคะวะตาธัมโมธัมมังนัมมัสสามิ สุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆสังฆังนามามินะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะ นะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะพุทธังสรณังกัจฉามิธัมมังสรณังกัจฉามิสังฆังสรณังกัจฉามิดุติยัมปิพุทธังสรณังกัจฉามิ Dutiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami Dutiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami Tatiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami Tatiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami Tatiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami ปานาติปาตาเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิอาดินาดานาเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิ Kamesu Micchācara Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami Musawada Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami Surameraya Madhyapamadatthana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Okay, you can be seated. Turn to page 3 of the Puja chanting booklet. We'll continue from Patipa Puja onwards. Ganna Sarapa Ditena Dipena Tamadangsina Tiloka Dipang Sambuddhang Pujayami Tamonudang Ganda Sambara Yutena Dopena Hang Suganhina Pujaye Pujaniyang Tang Puja Bhajana Muttamang Vanda Ganda Gunopetang Etang Kusuma Santatin Pujayami Munindasa Siri Pada Sarorohe Puje mi Buddhang Kusumena Nena Punnena Muttena Cha Hotu Mokhang Pupang Milaya Yati Yatta Idang Me Kayo Tata Yati Vinasa Bhavang Adiva Setu Bante Paniyang Parikapitang Anukampang Upadaya Patikan Hatu Muttamang Adivasetu no Bante Pale Parikapitang Anukampang Upadaya Patikan Hatu Muttamang Adivasetu no Bante Bojanang Parikapitang Anukampang Upadaya Patigan Atumutamang. Now we shall chant the Puja Aspiration based on our understanding of the significance of all these Puja offerings. Significance of offering of light. May this offering of light to the Buddha brings forth the causes and conditions to illuminate our mind and help arise the needed clarity and understanding to dispel all darkness or ignorance therein. Significance of offering of water. May this offering of pure, clear, cool water lead us to the pure, clear Dhamma that cools and doses off the fires of all defilements within our mind. Significance of offering of incense. May our morality, virtue, and understanding shine forth far and wide, just like the fragrance of this incense, which we are offering to the Blessed One, who is perfect in wisdom and virtue. Significance of offering of fruits. May this offering of fruits remind us of the Dana Parami of generosity and the fruit of all karma, so that we will diligently strive on with heedfulness to attain the path and fruition soon as possible. Significance of offering of flowers. May this constant offering of flowers to the Blessed One strengthen our faith and constantly remind us of the impermanence of this body, so that we will diligently and sincerely strive on to cultivate Sila, Samadhi, and Panya, leading to ultimate liberation upon free Nibbana. Making of overall aspiration. By the power of all these merits, born of these offerings, may our spiritual faculties of Saddha, Virya, Sati, Samadhi, and Panya be further strengthened until they become balas or powers. Sharing and transfer marriage to all beings. May this marriage be shared and transferred to all beings without exception, especially to those who have the condition and affinity to receive them. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, let's pay respect, Triple Gem. Bendang Puja Dhammang Puja Sanghang Puja. Okay, you all can be sitting. So a very good evening to all brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. So today is the first time we are trying out the new format, which allow me to have a screen in front of me, just like at my home, the Tuesday class, so that I can actually share the same Surangama Sutra text with you all. Then those who wants to maybe follow before you receive the text, you can log in. Log in. Then you will see what Jin Hao show while pinning the digital book on our screen. Okay, so as usual, we will off the light and have our half an hour of awareness-based meditation. By now, I think most of us are familiar with awareness-based meditation. So you just relax, maintain awareness, then stabilize the awareness to develop the inner awareness. So that this awareness-based meditation can be developed in accordance with the instruction. Remember the four support. First support, relax, body and mind, completely relax. Then move on to the second support, which is to maintain the inner awareness. Yeah, that is basically your true mind, your silent mind, your meditative mind. So just aware that that is your nature, the first to arise from the source. And when you come as a living being, you have that. We call that the primordial, the original. And that one is responsible for the arising of the mundane thinking, mundane activity, the mundane mind, the consciousness, together with its content, that one input as they grow up and their memory, our brain, become more sophisticated because of their knowledge, conditioning, belief system, their views, opinion, and whatever that they have accumulated, including their phobia, their insecurity, their fear, their whatever emotion. And through this, you will understand how you become a human being, how from that nature, the first to arise is our pure awareness nature. You have to develop the stability of this pure awareness based meditation to realize the two mind. First is your true mind, the silent mind, the original primordial state before the arising of thought, before the mundane stirring thinking and movement arise. So seeing this, you will understand who you are, what you are, and how you function as a human being. How the teaching can be presented in the four circle formation, leading from the source to the pure awareness nature, which is our true mind, silent mind. Then from there, the format mind, which is our mundane thinking, second aspect, our thought process. That is represented by the third circle formation, the five aggregate of format mind, the two aspects. Then because we have the sense basis, upon contact, it triggers off the respective sense door consciousness, thereby creating the phenomenal world of consciousness and form, where existence is, where all of life, creation manifests. So, to understand all this, you must develop the stability of inner awareness to observe clearly, to understand. So the first support is relaxed body and mind, then maintaining the awareness, then stabilizing this awareness. And when you stabilize this inner awareness, the so-called sati or mindfulness, then you will know that the two minds, they are very close to each other. From the true mind, the pure awareness nature, how the thinking mind arises, the mundane mind arises, the stirring, the reaction, the movement, the activity of mind, we call it sankhara, or the mind state. Through observing all this, you understand, you develop the wisdom, you penetrate the teaching, and from there you root out sakkayaditthi, avijja, ignorance, self-delusion, followed by ignorance. Once these are rooted out, your mind maintains that tranquility, stillness, so that it returns to its original state before the stirring, to realize the true mind, the silent mind. Then from there, you develop the meditative wisdom. That's how awareness-based meditation can bring about transformation, wisdom. Okay, with this, I will let you meditate on your own. The last support is trust, Trust, trusting your true nature within to develop the movement within your heart area. No more interference from the thought process or the thinking. No more directing. No more wanting to know, wanting to do. You just allow things to be, let things be. Whatever arises, away, finish. Then let that nature is within move. Trust that nature to move. And allow it to detect whatever it wants to detect. Sooner or later, that fourth support will stabilize. Then hopefully, after it stabilizes, it will detect the gateway to your nature on its own. Then a lot of things will happen when it manifests. And the cultivator of the way, the former mind that go through that cultivation and movement will understand. Because your inner nature, the pure awareness nature, is just the witnessing. The pure awareness nature witness all the movement and activity. We are seeing things as they are. And through this observation, the silent observation of what is the reality, you will develop the wisdom and the understanding. Okay, now I let you meditate on your own. You can slowly, mindfully come out of that meditation. Try to maintain whatever inner peace, inner calmness, inner awareness that you have developed for as long as you can. Okay, now turn to page 6 of the chanting book. We will do the invocation to the Devas. Invocation to the Devas in this universe, in their entirety. Let the deities and Devas come here. Let them hear the good teachings of the King of Sages, which gives heaven and release, Nibbana. This is the time to listen to the teaching. This is the time to listen to the teaching. This is the time to listen to the teaching. Samanta Chirakawa Atra Gachantu Devata Saddhammang Munirajasa Sunantu Sakemokadang Dhamma Kalo Ayang Padanta Dhamma Kalo Ayang Padanta Dhamma Kalo Ayang Padanta Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Iti beso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho Peja jarana sampanno sugato lokavido Anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati satta deva manosanang Buddho Bhagavati Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Santitiko Akaliko Ehipasiko Opanaiko Pachatang Veditabo Vinohiti Supatipanno Bhagavato Sangho Ujupatipanno Bhagavato Sangho Yapatipanno Bhagavato Sangho Samichi Patipano Bhagavato Sangho Yadidang Chatari Purisa Yukani Atta Purisa Pugala Esa Bhagavato Sangho Ahuneyo Pahuneyo Dakineyo Anjali Karaneyo Anutarang Punyang Ketang Lokasati Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu. Okay, y'all can be seated. Now you'll officially today start off with the Surangama Sutra. This is based on the Buddhist text translation, a new translation with excerpts from the commentary by Venerable Master Hsuan. Okay, so for those who don't have the book, maybe you have to uh, uh, log in to follow the Zoom. So Jin Hao will pin the part there. Anyway, the original book, we managed to get about 28 copies. Yeah, earlier on, 30. Very good. So this book, we will use it as reference. But the other one by Charles Luk also, off and on, you can read through. Where the Charles Luk one is more concise and more, I should say, accurate in its translation. But nevertheless, the one that we are using, the new translation, which is based on, I think, Shenhua's disciple and the Buddhist Text Translation Society. They did the translation together, I think, co-chair the thing. And this one is more concise in the sense that the old book, they have about 9 books, the old translation. The new one is only 1 book, which is, I think they use lightweight material, although so thick, but not that heavy. Anyway, the cover is very beautiful. The one that I share on our WhatsApp group, the dark blue color. The camera can get the shutter. Never mind, it's okay, I think. It's okay. Okay. You can see the camera. So this is the book. It's quite thick. So we will be basing on this book. We will go through the introduction first and the preface, all those things. Okay, you go back to the text. Okay, so the first page, I think they have this on respecting sacred books. I think this one is quite a common reference by the city of 10,000 Buddha, Hsuan Sai. So on respecting all this sutta or sacred book. So in the Buddhist tradition, sutra are often understood to contain the teachings of Buddhas and greatly enlightened masters as guidebook to the path to awakening. Sutra are treated with reverence. Means you respect the book. Then, like it's stated here, it's customary. So it's a custom that the Buddhist or Chinese tradition they hold on to. It is customary to keep these sutta volumes in a clean place, either above or apart from secular works, to handle them with respect and to read them only while sitting upright or standing. So this one is based on their commentary. You don't have to really attach to it and create a problem out of it or issue out of it, because certain people who may not have the understanding, when they see such thing, then they believe strongly. And what happens is when they see people put this book on the floor or what, they become angry, unhappy. They say you don't respect the book. So to prevent all this, we advise you to have an open mind, where it's only a customary practice. Of course, you want to develop your own reverence, well and good, but don't make it into an issue so that your mind will react to somebody who didn't treat it the way you believe is respect. but respect comes from the heart and the understanding. It's not so much of how you actually uh, deliver those books, whether you read it up, right, sitting, standing, or whatever. As long as you sincerely with the faith, developing the sincerity to cultivate, you can read it in any form, in any direction. Sometimes the digital form also no problem. And sometimes whatever posture that is conducive to you, you just use it. Okay, I read on. The Surangama Sutra, with excerpts from the commentaries by the Venerable Master Shenhua. He is also my refuge teacher. This is a new translation. Okay. So this Surangama Sutta, newly translated from the Chinese, means Mandarin version by the Surangama Sutra Translation Committee of the Buddhist Text Translation Society, composed of Reverend Bhikshu Heng Shua, who is a certifier, and Bhikshu Jin Yan, Bhikshu Jin Yong, and Novik Jin Yang, Novik Jin Hai, then Ron Epstein, David Rao, and Joey Wei, Fulin Chang, and Laura Lin. So copyright is by the Buddhist Text Society here. Then Buddhist Text Society is an affiliate of the Dhamma Buddhist Association. The address is there, Ukiah, the Bohiway, Ukiah, California. Okay, wait. Let me read. Okay. So this one is the Library of Congress cataloging in publication data. Tipitaka, Sutta Pitaka, Surangama Sutta, English, and the Surangama Sutta, new translation, we absurd all this, translated from Chinese original, written in Sanskrit. The Mandarin version was translated from the Sanskrit version. So include bibliographical reference and index. So his biography of Xianhua is, I think he was born in 1918 and he passed away in 1995. Okay. Then, okay, we move on. Printed in the States. I think must be City of 10,000 Buddha. Okay, Okay, table of content, Venus. Slowly. So the prologue, which we will go through forward, introduction, prologue. Then the nature and location of mind, which is the first chapter. Then all the subheading you read through. Move up, Then second section is nature of visual awareness. The subheading also you read through. Then the matrix of the Tascam one. They also call it the Tata Gata Gaba. And the subheading you read through. And the next one is move up. Okay, number 4. The coming into being of the world of illusion. This is how the universe comes into being based on the Surangama Sutta. Okay, next one. Instruction for cultivation of practices. And section 6, 25 sages. These are the great bodhisattva and great beings that presented their cultivation to help Sakyamuni Buddha in explaining the teaching and the cultivation. Then section 7 is 4 clear and definitive instruction on purity. And we have the Surangama mantra. Then we have the level of beings. Then we have the 50 demon states or demonic deviant samadhi mind states. So this 50 deviant samadhi mind state in Mandarin Mahayana tradition they call it 五识阴谋 is related to our 5 aggregates of form and mind. Each and every of this aggregate, when you insight into phenomena and develop the meditative training, when you try to break this 5 aggregate, in the Mahayana tradition, they got this 破相论, where you break the xiang, the mark, the 5 aggregate of form and mind. Every of these aggregate, they believe they can cultivate until they break free from the 5 aggregate of form and mind. 色相色受相行识. Sa is form, so is feeling, the aggregates of feeling. 想印 is perception. 行印 is sankhara activity. Mind states, everything that your mind can do. And the last one is consciousness, 四印. Okay, move on. Move on. These are the photos. No, move on. Move on. Move on. Okay, acknowledgement. So the member of the Surangama translation committee would like to gratefully acknowledge with special thanks the important work of Bhikkhu, Bhikkhuni Hengchi, who was the primary translator of the Buddhist text. Translation Society's first edition of the sutta in the early day. The translation opened the way for this new translation and made the task much easier than it would otherwise have been. We would like further to thank Bhikkhuni Heng Yin, Madalena Liu, and then the rest you read through. These are just acknowledgement. Further up, go. Okay, forward. When Tibetan Master Shenhua moved to San Francisco to teach the Dhamma to Westerners, his first project was to explain the Surangama Sutra in detail. So during the summer of 1968, he convened a 90 days meditation retreat that focused not only on meditation, but also on the Surangama Sutra. Then beginning in 1980, the Buddhist Text Translation Society published Master Hsuan Hua's lectures from that summer session. And for the first time, a complete Mahayana meditation manual was available to Westerners. Earlier English translation of the Surangama Sutra were incomplete and often came without explanation. Master Hsuan Hua's presentation placed the sutra at the heart of the contemplative life, thereby opening a road into actual cultivation of the Dhamma for those who desire to follow the Buddha's path. From Master Hsuan Hua's perspective, the Surangama is not obscure or intimidating, nor is it lofty beyond reach. He explained the text as Kayamita, a good and wise spiritual advisor. He was not alone in doing so throughout the centuries in China, Japan, Korea, and Vietnam. Meditation teachers and monks such as Han San of the Ming Dynasty, Yuan Ying of the Republic era, and Master Hua's own teacher, Master Xu in Lao respected and endorsed the Surangama Sutra instruction and used the sutra as a reliable yardstick of proper samadhi. Over the years, when I think this one must be referring to Shenhua, when I have need advice in certification, I have referred to the Surangama Sutra for authoritative information. I go to the 50 Divan Samadhi or demonic state of mind under part 10 to check on strange state in meditation. So this one is a good check. I go to the 25 great beings or sages, part 6, for encouragement on the path from the voice of bodhisattvas. I go to the 4 clear and definitive instruction on purity, part 7, and clarity on interaction with the world. For example, there I find the Buddha's reasoning for advocating a harmless, plant-based diet. In carrying out the perspective of the present, Master Hua emphasized the real-life interaction between the Buddha and his student. I am drawn to the Buddha's voice as it appears in the sutta. His tone is at all times both wise and kind. For example, a noble king conversed with the Buddha about his childhood alongside the Ganges River. This one is, I think, on mindfulness. After answering the Buddha's skillful questions, the king experienced the serenity of his intrinsic nature and loses his fear of death. The king hears the Dhamma and gradually understands. But even before that conversation, a young Kadishan meets the Buddha and immediately wakes up. She had fallen in love with Ananda, but upon hearing the Dhamma, she adjusts her priority, abandons the pursuit of pleasure, and develops samadhi and wisdom. She became an arahant on the spot before Ananda does. Her story illustrates the lack of gender or class bias in the Buddha's teaching as found in the Dhamma Sutta. So this is also part of the reason why the Surangama Sutta was proclaimed. In fact, it started off with Ananda not able to make it in time because there was some past life karmic conditioning. And this condition, or I think in the olden day, a nice word is condition, but a crude word is prostitute. I think her name is Matanga or Matangi, I forgot already. Is stated that because of past life encounter, I think for many lives they have been husband and wife before. So the moment this condition, 500 life, the moment this condition saw Ananda, he must get him. And that love was so strong, he used a mantra, Brahma's mantra, to cast a spell on Ananda. And Ananda almost broke his vow of monkhood. And luckily, the Buddha knew, and through his uh, wisdom or power, he recited the Surangama mantra to prevent that thing from happening. Then sent Manjushri Bodhisattva to save Ananda and bring both the Kadishan and Ananda back. That was how the story came about. Then in the dialogue within the Buddha, I'm sorry, I read further. Okay, in the dialogue between the Buddha and his cousin Ananda, we find the framework of the narrative and the full expression of the Buddha's range of teaching skill. The Buddha patiently guides Ananda through the landscape of his mind as he progressed from book learning to actual experience. The Buddha's teaching in the sutta came alive for me because at Golden Mountain Monastery as a young monk, I observed Master Hua respond with the same measure of unerring kindness to the variety of faithful Chinese devotee, university professor, and truth-seeking hippies who passed through the door of the monastery. Each received the appropriate measure of Dhamma water to nourish their bodhi-sprout. Nearly 30 years have passed since the Buddhist Text Translation Society first published the Surangama Sutra in English. This new translation adds tools for scholastic investigation, including helpful footnotes, a more systematic treatment of technical terms, and lucid prose that has benefited from 3 decades of practice. The devotion of the disciple who work on the Surangama Sutta, who I might point out, work entirely as unpaid volunteer, shows on every page. These individuals, monastic and laity alike, follow Master Shenhua's model in keeping alive the jewel of wisdom and making it available for our use. The Dhamma came to the West only a short time ago, but the appearance of this new edition shows the deepening of its root. I congratulate the many volunteers of the Buddhist Text Society, Translation Society, who have given so generously of their time and effort. May their wisdom and virtue become full and continue to benefit all sentient beings, so that together we might leave behind the sense limitation and knots of the mundane world and experience the Buddha's description of how things are at root. There in the bright rhyme of the Taskam One's treasury, Taskam One's treasury infused with the Buddha's majestic spirit, may we master the 3 practices that end outflow and realize patience with the state of mind in which no mental objects arise, which is Nibbana. So this is written by Hsuan, the certifier. He is also the president of Dhamma Buddhist Association, director, Berkeley Buddhist Monastery in February 2009. Okay, introduction. This part is more important. For over 1,000 years, the Surangama Sutra, the Sutra of the Indestructible, has been held in great esteem in the Mahayana tradition of East and Southeast Asia. In China, the sutra has generally been considered as important and has been as popular as the Lotus Sutra or Avatamsaka Sutta. The Mahayana Mahaparinibbana Sutta, the Heart Sutta, the Diamond Sutta. The appeal of the Surangama Sutta lies in the broad scope of its teaching and in the depth and clarity of its prescription for contemplative practice. Because of its wealth of theoretical and practical instruction in the spiritual life, it was often the first major text to be studied by newly ordained monks, particularly in the Zen school. Many enlightened masters and illustrious monastic scholars have written exegetical commentaries on it, to this day for both clergy and okay. Hey.
This one is a sub.
Never mind. Don't worry, you don't overshoot. Let me read finish. To this day, for both clergy and this sutta part I go through. Okay, you read yourself, that one. Okay, move it on. Okay, ladies, in the Chinese Buddhist tradition, the Surangama Sutra continue to be the object of devout study, recitation, and memorization. More specifically, the Surangama Sutta has traditionally been regarded as a complete and practical manual for spiritual practice and will eventually lead to enlightenment. It gives instruction in the correct understanding of the Buddha nature. This Surangama Sutta, they also go into the nature's cultivation, but not much was explained except by some commentaries, but also not enough detail, because not many can really do the explanation. He gives instruction in the correct understanding of the Buddha nature, which is the potential within all beings for becoming a Buddha, a Sammasambuddha. The sutra explains how and why this true nature is hidden within our ordinary experience of ourselves and of the world, and it shows how we can uncover this nature and recognize that it is our own true mind. So this part, I think most people don't have the understanding. The sutra also explains that personal integrity and purity of conduct are essential prerequisites for spiritual awakening. It presents the general principles of Buddhist meditation, introduces several specific meditation methods and recommend which methods are the most effective and the easiest to practice. Further, a considerable portion of the sutta is devoted to guidelines for discerning what understanding and practices are correct and which deviate into wrong ones. It explains how our own intentional action, whether physical, verbal, or mental, directly results in our experience, means the karmic aspect, including our future rebirth at various levels of beings, both human and non-human. It shows how correct action can also lead to initial awakening and eventually to the perfect enlightenment of Sammasambuddha. Much of the sutta is devoted to the Buddha Sakyamuni's instruction to the monk Ananda, whose personal story provides a narrative frame for the entire discourse. Joined by several of his enlightened disciples, the Buddha shows Ananda how to turn the attention of his sense faculties inward in order to achieve a deeply focused state of meditation known as samadhi. Actually, is 回光返照, reverse the light and develop the inner awareness. He tells Ananda that by practicing a particular form of samadhi, which he called the Surangama Samadhi, he and everyone or anyone else who also maintain purity of conduct and develops right understanding can gain an awakening. How to turn the attention of his sense faculty inward in order to achieve deep state of meditation known as samadhi. He tells Ananda that by practicing a particular form of samadhi, which is the Surangama Samadhi, he and anyone else who also maintain purity of conduct and develop right understanding can gain an awakening that is equal to the awakening experienced by all Buddha. Okay, move on. Okay, at the heart of the sutta is a Surangama mantra. Surangama, the sutra promises that the practice of reciting this mantra in the context of the other practices taught in the sutta can succeed in eliminating whatever internal and external obstacle that may lie in the way of spiritual progress. To this day, monks and nuns in the Chinese Buddhist tradition, as well as many practitioners among the ladies, recite the mantra every morning as an essential aspect of daily practice. Okay, despite its importance in Buddhist tradition, and despite its intrinsic value as a masterpiece of spiritual writing, the Surangama Sutta continues to be little known in the West. The reason for the sutta's relative obscurity outside of Asia is in part due to the aspect of the Chinese text itself. In the first place, no Indic origin of the Surangama Sutta survives. It is preserved only in the 8th century translation into Chinese. And this translation was widely appreciated among Chinese readers for its literally elegant. It is also well known as being unusually difficult to understand. The text is expressed in a succession of 4-character phrases in what amounts to a meter prose, a format that imbues the entire discourse with a vigorous and stately rhyme. But to maintain the 4-character meter, the Chinese translator were often forced to omit character necessary to the meaning, and this resulted not frequently in an extreme tenseness of expression. For such passage, the exegetical tradition is essential for understanding. In addition, the Chinese translator resort frequently to rare character, often allow themselves ambiguity of grammar and word usage, make allusion to doctrine without explaining them, and left many technical terms in the transliterated Sanskrit. The result has been that even devout and erudite Chinese readers are sometimes puzzled as to its meaning of the text. It is perhaps not surprising then that relatively few attempts have been made to produce even a partial English translation. In undertaking this new English rendering of the complete sets of the Surangama Sutta, the present translator's first priority has been to ensure that the difficulties of the text are reduced as far as possible for the Western reader. To that end, we have strived for clarity, transparency, and naturalness of expression. We have been ready to sacrifice any attempt to emulate the complex literary elegance of the Chinese whenever it seems to us that to do so will interfere with the plain statement of the meaning in English. We have translated many of the Sanskrit technical terms that the Chinese translator left in Sanskrit. We have also interpolated chapters and subchapter headings and have occasionally inserted numbers to mark the succession of topic in the sutra's argument. Further, we have provided interlinear explanation commentaries wherever we judge that it might be helpful in clarifying the meaning of the text. To this end, we have chosen excerpts from commentary that was redacted from lectures given in 1968 by Venerable Master Hsuan, and even a Chinese monk and teacher who was a pioneer in bringing the Buddhist tradition of scriptural exegesis to the Western audience. Finally, we have added explanatory footnote to supplement the present introduction and commentaries. The footnote also provide occasional reference to other commentaries in most cases, without giving specific notice or special notice. We have followed the interpretation given in his commentary by Venerable Master Hsuan. Fortunately, the difficulties imposed by the Chinese translator rhetorical choice are somewhat mitigated by the manner in which the sutta unfold. Much of the discussion of samadhi is presented in the form of a dramatic dialogue between Sakyamuni and his young cousin and attendant Ananda. To the Western reader, the sutra's dialogic format suggests a rough similarity in the dialogue of Plato, but Plato's manner of uncovering truth by means of Socrates' slay cross-examination of his. Move it further. Okay. Uncovering the truth by means of Socrates' slay cross-examination of his helpless interlocutor is in fact very different from the pattern we encounter in the Surangama Sutra. For much of the first part of the sutta, both the Buddha and Nanda make use of the syllogism as it later came to be used in the tradition of Buddhist logic or logical argument. In constructing a syllogism, mere reasoning was not considered to be sufficient. It was necessary to establish a proposition's truth by citing as an instance or example some evidence of the proposition at work in the ordinary experience of daily life. The presence of this example is a significant aspect of the sutra's distinctive style. As the argument progresses from point to point, readers are given a series of glimpses into daily routine of a monastic community and the life of ordinary citizens in the nearby city of Savatthi. We read of the monks seated with their arms both busy eating food with their hands in the Indian tradition. We hear of householder digging well for new dwelling and local healer holding on bows to the full. Move it up. Okay. Moon to collect dew and they were mixed into their herbal potion. We meet a monk who has spent his life repairing potholes in the Pali road and a king who despairs because he is growing old. How abstract or subtle the discourse may sometimes seem, that is always deeply colored with a sense of time and place, with the sight and sound of the people of northern India, as it was some 2,500 years ago. Okay, a synopsis of the sutra. This part is more useful. The occasion for the teaching, as the sutra opened, Ananda is alone on the road, making the traditional monastic alms round, passing unwittingly by a house of courtesans. He is confused by a young woman's recitation of a spell. This is the Brahma spell or mantra. She attempted to seduce him, and he is soon on the brink of breaking his vow of celibacy. The Buddha Sakyamuni sends from a distance his cousin's distress. He thereupon caused a Buddha to appear seated above his forehead, and this Buddha proceed to recite the Surangama mantra. The Buddha Sakyamuni then sent the Bodhisattva Manjushri to wend the mantra's power in order to defeat the young conditioned spell. The Bodhisattva Manjushri then returned to the monastic ground with both Ananda and the Cartesian. Amidst the assembly of monks and a throne of lay adherents, Ananda now finds himself face to face with the Buddha, deeply mortified by his own behavior. Ananda requests instruction so that he can avoid further error. This is the request for Dhamma, with which most of the Buddha's discourse begin. That's why the Surangama Sutta started with that. Then part one is the nature and location of mind. In responding to his cousin's request, the Buddha made clear that Ananda's error lies not only in his jeopardizing of his practice of celibacy, equally serious are his laxity, means he is not diligent enough in his practice of meditation and of samadhi. Because of his laxity, his mental focus is not firm enough to resist the influence of the Cartesian spell. It is this failure that the Buddha. No, you have to go back a bit more. Oh, you may say, okay. To resist it is this failure that I continue from there. Okay. The Buddha will address in his teaching. He undertakes first to show Ananda what might be involved in the transcending, involved in transcending the worldly condition or conditioned world. That is in transcending the stream of sense impression. These are very important. That we take to be our external environment and the stream of inner thought that we cherish as characteristics of our identity. That is where the fourth circle is, from the third to the fourth, the five aggregate of form and mind. That's how you created the phenomenal world of consciousness. So this one that the Buddha talked about is, he's trying to teach Ananda how to transcend the conditioned world. That is, in transcending the stream of sense impression, means all your sense data that come in and imprint upon your mundane thinking mind. So this is the one that actually caused Ananda's downfall. So this sense impression that we take to be our external environment or external manifestation and the stream of inner thought that we cherish means your sankhara, views, opinion, conditioning, belief system, and also your habitual tendency, all those things that you cherish as characteristic of your own identity, your personality, your knowledge, your accumulated life experiences. That's how you identify yourself through your belief system, views, opinion, conditioning, etc. Yeah. So all this is what the Buddha trying to unravel in the teaching. Because the problem with Ananda is he got elephant memory, remember? He can remember everything that the Buddha has proclaimed. He got elephant memory. He can recite it out and share the proclamation. And because of that, he thought he have a lot of understanding. But actually, he was only a sotapan. Where he lacked cultivation. He never go in and develop the cultivation of the inner awareness nature within. That's why he cannot understand the two minds. In the Surangama Sutra, the opening chapter, he was caught completely wrong-footed many times by the Buddha. Uh, Yeah, the Buddha tried to slowly bring him in and ask him about the location of the mind. And he cannot get it right. On 7 occasions, he got it all wrong. He cling on to the mundane mind, the what we call the condition arising mind, or the dependent originating perception, the wrong perception, which he cannot understand. And he thought that was mind. Then he, through logic, after the Buddha asked him, where is your mind? He do a lot of supposition. He at first say, the mind is inside my body. Then after the Buddha proved him wrong, he said, my mind is outside my body. Again proven wrong, he said, in between and all those things. That's why he completely confused. Okay, I read on. Oh, 9:43 already, so fast. Okay. To approach this topic, the Buddha begins by asking Ananda to consider where his mind is located. Ananda offered the evident answer that his mind is found inside his body. The Buddha, with his superior command of logic argument, quickly disposed of this wildly held supposition of the 6 other possibilities that Ananda offered. Ananda is left with a bewildering conclusion that his mind is neither inside his body, outside it, nor somewhere in between, nor anywhere else. The Buddha then compounded his cousin's confusion by stating that there are fundamentally two minds. You listen to this. This one is very important. First is he called it the ordinary mind. You move it out first. Okay. First is the ordinary mind. He called it ordinary mind. Actually, it's our mundane mind, our thinking mind, of which we are aware. So you can be aware of your mundane thought process, thinking. So this is the first that manifests from the pure awareness nature, the first circle. The second circle, the pure awareness nature, your true mind, your silent mind. So from there, it stirs and it arises, the mundane mind. Here he called it the ordinary mind. Here is your mundane thinking mind, condition arising, dependent originating mind, of which we are aware, and which is entangled. This word is very important. Entangled with wrong perception, delusion, sakaya ditti, anasana, and avijja. Lifetime after lifetime, understand? This is the one that created the millennium of karmic activity and movement. In the snare of illusionary perception, all these perception that you perceive through your senses, they are not real. Can follow? Huh? Then what happened? And because of that, it diluted your mental activity. So this diluted mental activity is your diluted sankhara activity or movement. Means through your sakayaditi, self-delusion, lack of Dhamma understanding, you stir and react to sense experience, and you create all this entanglement within the phenomenal world of consciousness and for thinking that it is real. And this is the one that causes your suffering, your misery, your downfall. That's why I call it the chaotic phenomenal world of consciousness. This is where existence is. This is where life is. And you don't have the Dhamma understanding and the direct seeing to understand all this. This thinking mind, mundane mind, will play havoc on you. This is the one that is very, I should say, active in life. This is the one that constantly manifests itself. That's why the Buddha called the Puthujjana. They think a lot, heedless. They don't have inner awareness. So living beings who are heedless, they think a lot. They have a lot of wrong thought. That's why they are all the time, if not most of the time, heedless, hardly aware. Then the second mind, this one is seldom explained. At least here, this version, there's a slight improvement. The second one is the everlasting true mind, which is our, instead of real nature, it should be your true nature, and which is identified, identical, not identify, which is identical to the fully awakened mind of all Buddhas. The Buddha adds that it is because living beings have lost touch of their own, see, here they use a correct word, their own true nature or true mind, that they are bound in the cycle of birth and death. Because after that samsaric movement, from the first thought of ignorance, which the Buddha said inconceivable is the first thought of ignorance, basic ignorance, that stir and lead until what it is today. That's why, because of that happening over billions and billions of birth and death over the millennium, living being, how can they know that they started from the pure awareness nature? That's why it's all lost. Since birth until now, most of your, unless you are bodhisattva or great beings, most of you will not understand what is going on. As a baby, without memory or those things, the pure perception, you cannot recall those moments. These are your karmic states. That's why you say we are all born our karma, heir to our karma conditions, supported by we are what we are. So as a baby, newborn baby, you have the direct seeing everything, but you don't have knowledge, understand? You don't have memory. You cannot recall all this. You don't know what is happening at that time. Then you went through the conditioning. Whoever who look after you, they teach you all the words, all the concept, all the pronunciation, everything. Yeah. Then they verbalize. Yeah. Then through your innocent, uh, uh, you call it what, embryonic mind, you start to learn. You start to learn. That's why you observe the kid, newborn baby, especially the first month. Most of the time they sleep on, they don't know, their senses are not developed yet. Then later on, when their senses develop, they become curious. Yeah. Then they start to pick up things, but no word, no concept, nothing. Yeah. Then they start to have the ability to see, to hear, but no meaning, no meaning. Then in between, you can do certain things to make them like laugh or try to imitate you. Then they will also behave in that way. So slowly, until they are of the age, maybe 4 months, 5 months, you can teach them how to listen to certain words, pronunciation. You must be one syllables, two syllables. Papa, Mahama, or certain song. And then they pick it up. They pick it up. That's why it's from memory. But they can never remember all this. Most of the kids, before the age of 3, they cannot recall much. Hardly any memory. Unless it's a very painful not so say painful. It's an experience that is very, I wouldn't use the word traumatic. Traumatic is over strong a word to use. Like something impactful, impactful. And then they will remember. I remember my son when he was very young. We brought him to this botanical garden in Penang. So he, as usual, like to feed them with all the whatever food, groundnut or whatever. Suddenly, one of the small monkey bite his finger off, and he cried. That one, I asked him when he grew up, he remembers. That one. The rest of it cannot hurt. Uh, So all this, you all can find out. So go back to the notes. I think we can end there already. So this part you go back and read again. I read to you again. Go down a bit more, a bit on it. Okay, okay. So here the Buddha then compounded Ananda's confusion by stating that there are fundamentally two types of mind. So here Ananda don't have this understanding. That's why when the Buddha actually tested him on the location of the mind, he tried all the 7 locations, all kena reprimanded. That's why through that lesson, Ananda is left in the bewilderment or bewildering conclusion that his mind is neither inside his body nor outside, nor somewhere in between, nor anywhere else that he suggested. The Buddha then compounded his cousin's confusion by stating that there are fundamentally, basically, two types of mind. This is how you start. Sinh Wei根本, like Bodhidharma say. If you don't know mind, you don't have the ability to understand the Dhamma, the teaching. Yeah. So first is the ordinary mind, of which we are aware and which is entangled, like I explained just now, lifetime after lifetime, in the snare of illusion or illusionary perception and deluded mental activity. So this is sakkayaditthi and avijja. Then the second mind, or the second type of mind, is the everlasting true mind, which is our real nature. Actually should be true nature, and which is identical to the fully awakened mind of our Buddha. So here they didn't explain much, but at least this is an improved version. Yeah. So the second type of mind is actually your true mind, your pure awareness nature. And this is the first to arise from the source. So this pure awareness nature, the second circle, this one is your true mind. This one we call it the primordial, the first to arise. And from here it creates the 5 aggregate of form and mind, the thought process, the thinking. Then because of the senses, like the physics experiment, it triggers off the phenomenal world of consciousness. Yeah, upon contact, like the physics experiment, the light bulb lights up. The lighting up of the light bulb is like it makes you conscious of what you see within the phenomenal world of consciousness and form. Conscious of what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, what you tactily feel and think. And this is your sixth sense door. That's why this one, consciousness, is like a magician. It creates illusion, like illusionist. Magician creating illusion for you to see the phenomenal world of consciousness and form. And this one is the conditioned world, the existential world. This is where all the whatever life, existence, activity manifest, happen. And this is the one that entice you, lure you, entangle you, and create all the suffering and misery in you. So from here, you will understand how this creation starts. Then to return, you need to silence all this and return to the pure awareness nature. That's why meditation is about returning to the pure awareness nature through what? Awareness-based meditation. When you silence your mind to be aware here, that is your true mind, your true nature, or you call it your original nature. Of course, the inside there, he said, it's like the mind of the Buddha. Because for you to come to the existential world, you need the karmic nature and the spiritual nature to create this so-called five aggregate of form and mind, the vehicle and tool for you to come. Without this, you cannot access to your pure awareness nature. That's why for living beings to come, you need the karmic nature together with your spiritual nature. Then you arise initially as this pure awareness nature. And this is the one that they cannot teach you much, cannot explain to you much. Well, this one, you need awareness-based meditation to stabilize the inner awareness, to stabilize it, so that you see this clearly without movement. Like earlier on, I think Ingbi asked that question, or you can listen to that again. That one explained very clearly. How, after you have stabilized it, then you know when you are here without any movement, without any activity, no thought, no sankhara, nothing, just the pure nature. Then from there, very fast thinking arise, thought arise. Whatever aggregates of mind, from there, very fast. It's like split second. And see that movement. Then initially, most people cannot see, you know why? They're lost in thought. Preoccupied with the emotion, the thinking, everything that the sankhara build up, the views, opinion, conditioning, and belief system, everything. Once that one come in, you already lost yourself. You are no longer here. That's why you cannot see. But when you are here, most of the time, this movement is very clear. And when you see this very clearly, then you realize, hey, if I am not deluded by this manifestation and delusion, then I will not suffer. Because this one is just dependent originating, condition arising, not a permanent unchanging entity. That's why the five aggregates of form and mind, they are empty, illusionary, because they are dependent originating. That's why it's impermanent. And because it's impermanent, it's not a permanent unchanging entity. He know you, he know me, not what you think. And they arise through causes and conditions. That's why you will see form, the unreality of form. Then you can see beyond form. Then form has no power over you. But all these forms are manifestation from mind. Understand? Mind make are they. When you understand this, the form delusion collapse. The phenomenal world of consciousness have no power over you. The phenomenal world of consciousness and form, they will collapse separately. Because you can see form, the unreality of form, then you see beyond form. Similarly, you will see mind. The true mind is not you also, but this one cannot come out and live life. This one is just a nature, understand? A nature, true nature. It's not a being. But from here, you see the movement of this mundane mind, the five aggregate. Understand? Once you see this movement, what happens is you see mind. You see mind, how it manifests from the pure awareness nature, the mano, the thinking mind. Then mind is the forerunner of things. Then from here, you input the content of consciousness, your views, your opinion, your conditioning, moral, immoral, everything. Then it creates the karmic activity. Then it arises the phenomenal world. So once you see this, you realize that the mind also, you have to learn to see how the mundane mind manifests from the pure nature. Just like painting. after he heard from the fifth patriarch, he developed the awakening and he recite back to the fifth patriarch that how amazing that this pure nature is complete by itself. And everything arises from this pure nature. All Dhamma arises from here. That's why he know. It's dependent originating, condition arising, no reality. And this one is impermanent. You grasp, you cling, you suffer. It follows nature's condition. And because it is impermanent, it's not a permanent unchanging entity. That's why it's anatta, empty, not real, not what you think. So when you see mind, the unreality of mind, where it's dependent originating, like the form, then you realize all these are not real. Mind make is just an image. Understand? That's why when you look at life, existence, this is equivalent to going through time. Understand? And the three periods of time, past, present, and future, we already, through our awareness, we know. Past already gone, not a reality. Future yet to come, also not a reality. The only reality is the present moment. Every moment, things arise. The present moment is the only reality. But split second is there and gone. Split second is there. So how real can life be? And that is the only reality, That's why as real as can be is only in the moment. If there is no mind to recall through memory, 往事只能回味, there is nothing in this whole universe. The whole of the phenomenal world of consciousness doesn't really exist. The unreality of form and mind. That's why the five aggregate of form and mind are empty. 无蕴皆空. You will see all this very clearly. And when you see all this, you awaken. Then you stay here most of the time. The heedful always here, most of the time. When you need to live life, you manifest and you come out. So actually, what the Surangama Sutra is trying to teach you is what I have been teaching you all this while. That's why once you understand all those, then when we go into the Surangama Sutra, we can understand it very fast. We don't need to read and become miserable over all the words. But the commentator who wrote, most of them are not at this level of cultivation, understand? So how can they explain to you? So far, I only found the one Charles Luk one by Hsuan, commentary by Hsuan, the two brother Hsuan Sita. The Hsuan one is very accurate. Yeah. And the very funny thing is, this Hsuan biography, when I was in the uni, the early 80s, I saw that book in my the place where they sell the university book on you. It's not library, it's bookstore, bookstore, university. There is a section on philosophy. I saw that book. Very funny, I went buy it. Then surprisingly, after 1989, I opened up and read. They say, hey, who is this guy? How come his meditation all like what I do? He also knows psychic, nothing. He cannot read mind, he cannot do all the funny things, but he can understand many things. And is mainly mindfulness, awareness. That's why his commentary is very accurate. Yeah. And later on, I think as we go into the sharing later on, there is one part where he makes that statement which I explained earlier to you. Hansan, after he gone through all the cultivation and transformation, then he was looking for one sutta to like confirm his cultivation. So he read through all the sutta. Then he found this Surangama Sutra. He spent 8 months reading it. Then after that, he make a conclusion. No more doubt. He said after reading this book, and later on we will come across that statement that he make. That's why he is very, very sure. No more doubt. This is the teaching. That's why his commentary is very well respected. Yeah. but very few people can understand what he say. So, luckily, that Charles Look guy, not bad. He can extract it and translate to the English translation. For the work he do, I consider him very good already. At least he can understand to that extent and get the English word out. That is not easy. Yeah. And in fact, this consolidated book, you go and check. A lot of this version, they follow Charles Lupin. The wording and all those things. But they expand it until this book is so thick, almost double the thickness of Charles Luk. But Charles Luk one very precise, very, I should say, concise. The word is concise and more accurate. Okay.
Mr. Steele, OK，他晚上好。是什么？就讲maybe 是讲这个四个
啊，
我刚才在听 Virgil 你在讲的时候，我觉得哇，这四个很 powerful，说整个的佛法，这整个的 understanding，它可以simplify into 这四个 circle 里面，
对，
这四个 circle 也能够 explain 到我们每一个就是这个 form and mind 怎样的去形成。它怎样的去 manifest， 就是很 powerful 啊，就是它只是so complicated 的这个teaching，but 它能够这样 simple 的去 present，
对，can be presented in a very simple manner so that living being can understand. In fact, it's the whole creation. That's why I call it the stages of creation. So these stages of creation here, stages of creation is based on this four circle formation. So this four circle formation explain how living beings come to be and how the phenomenal come to be, how existence come to be, how the universe come to be. So these are all the simplified explanation that can only be developed if one has developed the cultivation. Otherwise, you cannot understand. Because to understand this, the source, or what we call the oneness nature, the original nature, the true nature, and the pure awareness nature that manifests, the first to manifest over here, this two is not easy, very, very difficult. Then most cultivator, even those who cultivate for a long period of time through the Bodhisattva way or what, they find it very difficult to completely understand the movement from the second to the third to the fourth circle, to cover the whole spectrum of existence, including the living being. This one, not necessarily a human being. All living beings are covered here. Then from here, through your sense basis, you manifest through your consciousness, the phenomenal world of consciousness. So all this is the uniqueness of this four circle formation to explain. And you look at the Surangama Sutra book, you look at all the Mahayana book, they cannot draw this. Maybe they talk quite a lot on this too, but they cannot trace the movement. Then, although the Surangama Sutta explain it, but it's so difficult to comprehend and understand. And living being find it very difficult. As I saw now after he has gone through, listened and developed the cultivation, he realized this is so beautiful. The four circle formation, 1, 2, 3, 4, can explain the whole of life. The supramundane, the supramundane and the mundane. That's why all this you can actually put into words and share with the world. That's why it can be explained in such simple manner and yet easy to understand. And it's nothing esoteric about it. You can have that understanding of how to develop the stability of this pure awareness nature, stabilize your inner awareness, then you can understand all this movement. This is key. You cannot stay here. You can understand. That's why sati is very important. Stability of sati leading to heedfulness, apamada, is very important. Without this, you cannot understand anything. That's why heedfulness is the path to the deathless. The heedful never die. And that word heedfulness is very important. Ever mindful, constantly meditative. And you continue. So.
这个4个 circle，因为我们一直在上课，我们一直在听，听起来 it seem like 很 simple，
对，
但是要去 cultivate，要去 understand，它的里面的每个 circle，很多的 Buddha Dharma 是在很多的 essential 的 Dharma 是在每一个的 circle 里面，它是每一个 circle 里面都是一个很 broad，一个很广的那个 Dharma。很多的 understanding 一定要要去 cultivate，要在里面下功夫，要去 cultivate，step by step，我们才能够去 realize 它的每个这个 circle 的 manifest。当我们知道它的每一个 circle 的 manifest 了以后，这个 creation 了以后，我们就能够回去。我还记得上次我们上课的时候 b r a 你就第一次你说我们要怎样的去 cultivate，你就画从第4个 circle 去到第2个的时候，哇，我整个觉得 yes， 就是这个
The understanding suddenly arise because if nobody explain to you, it will take you a long time to find out yourself. You have to develop all this understanding on your own. It's not easy. For me, I was lucky because my past very strong. That's why when I came after 89, then when my last guide actually showed me where the gateway is, within 9 months, I transformed. Then I inherited all my past understanding. That's why all this understanding came back to me. Then when the year 2004, causes and conditions were ready for my nature to come out to share, then living being also ready. That's why I came out and shared. But at that time, hardly anybody can understand. That's why later on I have to reverse all my teaching to basic essential Dhamma. And at Hsuan's house, I keep on repeating the Theravada tradition's provisional teaching. Then only later on, when come to Thursday class at Mama's Tree House, we move on to the unique code. And this is what came out, where the unique code understanding came from understanding this 4 circle formation, this whole cultivation. You go and check back the unique code, all from this. And without this, you cannot come out with a unique code. And they are really unique as you have listened to all the sharing. Why all the code are so unique. And these are not ordinary word of wisdom. No. It's the understanding from the nature. That's why all the code that manifest are so unique. And almost each and every of these unique codes, if you really do the transcript, you can create books out of it. Like the few books that we came out with. They are only based on 1 or 2 of the unique code. And the whole teaching manifests. Then just how Song was trying to explain to you, maybe I'll elaborate on it so that you understand more. You see, each and every circle, the understanding of it is very, very elaborate. That's why the Bodhisattva way is very extensive and elaborate. And this phenomenal world of consciousness, even as our Earth, as a planet, you can see over the last 4 decades how the human civilization advanced and manifests all those so-called new experience of life, especially the IT boom, the AI boom, and all the technological advancement, and the whole of the civilization's complexity, including all the conflict, the war, the so-called trades, commerce, everything, and what we experience as life on Earth. That itself is so complicated. You got politics, you got culture, you got all the various sciences, arts, humanity, everything, including all the technological advancement and understanding. So all this within this conditional or existential, where we call as the universe, experience and manifestation, this is mainly consciousness. You realize or not, everything is consciousness. It's just consciousness. Without consciousness, the universe doesn't exist. As the Buddha said, that mind, the mundane mind, is the forerunner of all things. When mind arises, all things arise. Law of karma arise. Law of truth arise. The paticca samuppada arise. Then all of science, physical law of nature, biological order of nature, all this manifests and created the expanding universe, the rising of civilization, etc. And this itself is a very big field. But you want to understand it completely through wisdom and the spiritual cultivation, you need to go back until here to develop the understanding. Then from here to back to here and back to here, it's not easy to see this movement and this embryonic manifestation of the mundane mind through the senses create the complexity of the phenomenal world of consciousness. This itself and this itself, the two aspects of the 5 degree of form and mind here, a lot of things inside there. 五蕴皆空, you must penetrate their universal characteristics. Why Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, when he was cultivating the Prajna Paramita, perfection, means perfection of wisdom, when he illuminated the 5 skandhas, he realized that they are empty. 五蕴皆空. Then he can tell Sariputta, form does not differ from emptiness. Emptiness does not differ from form. For form itself is emptiness, and emptiness itself is so. When he illuminated and saw that they are empty, he saw form, the unreality of form, dependent on it. Then, because how he see form and its unreality, then he can see beyond form. Form has no power over him. That's why he knows it's empty. The mind also same. That's why he penetrated all this. Then when you have finished all this cultivation to understanding life, then you know both the mundane and the supramundane number. Then you can live life. Then this one become beautiful. And this cultivation, I tell you, take very long. That's why it has to take aeons and aeons, the Bodhisattva way. Then when you take the Bodhisattva way, the single way is very easy. You have a glimpse of this cessation, finish. You can end if you want to. But to go the Bodhisattva way, you have to develop the ability to detect the gateway to take you into this. The gateway to your nature will bring you here. And you have to develop the cultivation of this full movement until you illuminate this nature and the pure awareness nature. Bodhi mind that illuminate this nature, that perfection is very long. Then after that only you can develop the wisdom to understand the three hallmarks of healing. The first hallmark of no thought, which is relatively quite easy. No mark, then no dwelling when the Mandi mind occurs. Then when this one illuminate your perfection develop, then you know samsara is not what you think. That's why the fourth stage of Bodhi-mind is Bodhi-mind that can renounce samsara. Means the coming into existence through the Bodhisattva way. After you have realized that type of wisdom at the fourth stage of Bodhi-mind development, is no more an issue, no more problem. Means samsara is beautiful, wonderful, which the Heart Sutta can confirm and tell you very clearly. When you realize true emptiness, perfect understanding of emptiness, 真空妙有, then all this creation can have meaning, wonderful existence, amazingly wonderful, beautiful. Then every life you come, you can live the life of a noble one. Then you can realize the pristine beauty and wonders of life every instant, every moment. And you can live it, even though it's moment to moment, not so real, not what you think. But that is life, there is existence. That's why this thing is not all about spiritual only, you understand? It's all about complete understanding of the unconditioned and the conditional. To understand life, to understand creation, the secret of life. And when you understand the secret of life, you know how to live life. This is where the uniqueness and what is the whole idea? How extensive and penetrative this teaching is, the Buddha Dhamma. That's why this teaching is very, very complete and very penetrating, very, very extensive. It covers the whole of existence, the whole of what we call the universe experience. So what scientists have managed to unravel are most of the time the thought process, the mundane mind, the mundane thinking, the mundane manifestation, the six sense basis. Even the six sense basis, they don't understand the spiritual aspect of its manifestation until the pure awareness nature. And this one, you don't meditate, you cannot understand this. They say the scientists don't have this understanding. This is the missing link that they cannot come out with the what they call Einstein tried to develop that theory of everything. He called it one idea. He has a name for it, where he believes if he understands all this, the parameter that governs existence, then he can actually understand the mind of God. You know what is the mind of God? Means God is the all-knowing one, omniscient, so to say. So he is like God, understand? Where he will know how all these things manifest. But he managed to actually through science develop a lot of understanding on gravity, quantum physics, quantum mechanics, and even electromagnetic theory, and even what they call all the so-called physics, chemistry, whatever, very advanced technology now. IC, AI, everything. But despite all this, even after they study psychology, uh, it's evolving the thought, but they cannot develop the understanding of this pure consciousness, pure awareness. That is the missing link. That is where his formula like cannot fall into place. That's why until he died, he still cannot come out with that solution. He was trying it very hard. He has a very unique mind. Okay. So that part, I think I just summarize it for you all. So go back and listen to all this attentively, and you will develop the interest and the unique understanding. Okay, we let so summarize before we end. 1 or 2 minutes.
OK，
So,
我觉得很 blessed 的，我们的Dhamma class 走到了今天，我们能够来study 这个Surangama，这个我相信接下来在每一个的这个 class 里面这个我们用这个Surangama 的这个经文里面的 teaching，在配合这4个的时候。我们能够更 deeper 更 understand 这整个 creation，这整个 form and mind 的这个这个的 creation 然后 speed up 大家的这个 understanding 跟这个 cultivation，然后能够让我们每一个人的 conscious 能够一直不断的一直在讲那一直不断的往前的这一个cultivate 就是这样。
let's rejoice.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, we will share marriage transformation. Then we end. Akasata cha bhumata devanaga mahindika punyantang anumoditva cirang rakantu loka sasana Itawata camehi sampadan punya sampadan sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampati siddhya idang menya tinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo idang menya tinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo Idang menya tinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo devo vasapakalena sasa sampati hetu cha fito bhavatu loko cha raja bhavatu dhammiko imina punyang kamena mame bala samagamo Satang samagamo hotu yawa nivana patiya sadhu sadhu sadhu. Okay, y'all can now pay respect mindfully to Lord Buddha, Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, and all the worthy ones. Then we end. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Dear brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, shall we put our palms together to express our gratitude and respect to Bratio and Mrs. Teo for coming all the way to share this beautiful Dhamma with us by saying sadhu 3 times.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu to Sister PG for fetching Bratio and Mrs. Teo. Sadhu,
Sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu to Brother Jin Hao for conducting the Zoom session and doing the recordings. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Sadhu to Brother Song for the sharing. Sadhu,
Sadhu, sadhu.
and sadhu to everyone for being here, accompany us and learning together.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sister Suri, the whole family for allowing us to come here to learn the sutta, and we wish them, one of them, well, happy, peaceful always.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.